All right, so this is something I've been thinking about, considering. First of all, good morning. How are you? I'm good. Thanks for asking. Well, I am good, but the title of the video is clearly stating our reaction video is dying. Seems like things are not going very well. But because the title and how it seems to project in a negative way, I'm just going to answer the question right away. Are reaction videos dying? And no. Reaction videos are not dying, but they have changed. And I'm going to do my best to explain it. And the reason why I feel like reaction videos are kind of dying is that me, myself included, but also colleagues and friends in the reaction space, the output has changed. There's less videos, people getting burnt out, taking hiatuses. I'm seeing it more and more, and views are dipping a little bit more. So are the reaction video trend, is it dying? Well, it's changed. And to start things off, I'm going to explain how I started and what I was doing back in the day. So I started in 2019 doing reaction videos. And the reason was to do honest reviews and to give critical analysis to every song that I listened to. I didn't see too much of that when I was watching reaction videos back then. So I wanted to be that voice. And it's cool to see the reaction scene change into more review content. Almost people have said like we're like the modern day of Rolling Stone or MTV, which obviously not in the same level, but it's like we're giving critical reviews. So it's cool to see the reaction scene change into that, where now labels and bands are trying to get their music to us because we have like an influence in how what is perceived to be good or bad music, which is crazy. But obviously we're just I'm just a regular guy who just likes music. My opinion is not the end all of everything. But when I first started making videos, to get back on topic, was I did daily videos. Every single day, I would put out a video. That was the goal. I grinded. That was the point. And I put a lot of time into editing too. I didn't like the idea of just doing stationary, just put up your stock or your footage and just leave it as is. I put time into editing and try to create some cool content, even though reaction videos are very surface level content. We all know that. And it was going well. It was going very well. I built up a big subscriber count for some time too, which was cool. And it was just, I felt like this is something that is my passion, and I found kind of my calling. So it made me really happy, and this is the same reason why I'm still here 5 years later doing this. But after like maybe 3 years, 4 years later, I started doing 4 to 5 videos a week instead of doing daily videos. My output changed a little bit. And lately, this year it feels like it's 3 to 4 videos. My output is just a little bit different. And people might think that my reviews are not as honest anymore. And the reason is I tend to not do negative reviews. So if I'm going to be a music reviewer and I just like everything, that's not really a true reviewer. And I totally agree. But it's because how I feel about the content has kind of changed. And it's because I want to put out like positive videos on, because I'm a positive guy outside of this. And I just don't like the idea of crapping on bands, crapping on songs, and creating a space in the comments where people have this negative energy. I don't like that feeling. But I will say that I still do my best to have discussions and be respectful towards bands or songs, and try to create a space where we can actually have some conversation in a respectful manner where you can agree or disagree with me, because I do want to reiterate that my opinion is not the end all to everything, obviously, but I just need to say that. So I've been putting out more favorable reviews, but if you come on the live streams on Twitch, I review like 30 to 40 songs, probably 50, 60 songs a week actually in total from all my live streams. And you just don't see the songs that I don't like anymore, because there's a lot of times where I give 6s, 5s, they're mostly 7 or 8 range, because it's metal music. It's still going to be favorable, but I just don't put out the songs I'm not excited about. So my output has changed, where I want to create exciting content. I want to create content that I'm excited to share with you. And so that's how it's changed for me. But I've also noticed that views are dipping, especially for small underground bands. And it could be because the amount of output, right? The reaction space was so convoluted, and it still is convoluted today, that there's just so many videos that how can the audience just know what to click on? And so that hurt things a little bit. And what I did and, other reactors did was change the titles, change the thumbnails to entice viewers to come back to the channel. And so a lot of people have said, clickbait titles, which, they are clickbaity. But I will still say, then I always will say that I stand by the titles that I create, because the titles are actually how I feel. And it's up to the audience member to really, if they agree or disagree with my title. So because of it, titles and thumbnails have really worked. And one of these examples is the controversial one, which is not putting the band or song name in the title. Just saying, wow, this band is great or something. And, some people are like, why are you not putting the band or the song name in the title? I see that criticism a lot. And the simple answer is people click on those videos. We get more views than we normally would for putting an unknown band that people don't know in the title. It's just the psychology of how consumer behavior is. It works. And does it still work? It's a little bit debatable. And I think this is another thing that has changed in the reaction space, that I feel like maybe the titles and thumbnails have gone a little bit too far. I feel like it's almost diminished the reputation of the reaction scene. And because of it, I'm going to scale back on the titles, the clickbait titles a little bit. Now, I'm not going to completely do just bare bone, titles and thumbnails. I'm just going to put like the band and song name and reaction, but put maybe some stuff in my thumbnail. I'm going to experiment. Now, is this what I'm going to keep doing? Probably not. I'm just going to try and see if this works in the future. Now, this is a busy week. We have Fall in Reverse. I'm still going to be doing the titles for a little bit more, but I'm going to experiment and try changing the titles back to how it was in 2019 or 2020 and back in those days. So that's something that I'm going to do differently, because that is something that I feel like, again, has diminished the reputation reaction scene, was the titles and the thumbnails. But the reason why we did it is because it worked. It worked for the time. It probably still works now, but I can feel that people might feel a little bit salty towards it. And since I can feel it, I do want to try addressing it. And when it comes to us creating it, it's just because it's the YouTube game, right? It's how YouTube operates. It's how YouTube works. So in a way, like, not shoot the messenger, but almost shoot the platform, I guess. But like, we had to play the YouTube game, and we still do. Now, another thing that has changed is just TikTok has obviously changed a lot of things. We all know this, especially for reaction videos. And one example that I like to use is for this band that I just recently featured called Giant Walker. And I put this band, I made a YouTube video. It took me 2-3 hours, I guess, for a thumbnail and everything to put it together. And it got like 2,000 views, which is not performing well for me. For 140,000 sub count almost and 2,000 views, that's doesn't align, right? And then I put out a short, which only took me 20 minutes to make, 20 to 30 minutes. And that has double the views now. So why am I going to put all this time and energy into 2 to 3 hours of content, or put only half an hour of time and energy into content that gets double the views? Logic obviously says to go into the shorts, because I want more time on my hands. I want to spend less energy on these things that are time consuming. So that's why there's been an emphasis on shorts, TikToks, Instagram Reels, and because of it, it has changed the reaction scene quite a bit. I pull in just as much or even more views on my TikToks than I do in my full-fledged YouTube format. And I think that's the case for a lot of people. I think videos in general, full-fledged videos for all types of content, have really diminished, where you can see a fitness influencer get a video that gets 1 million views, but then they take like one little short sample and it can get like 60 million views on just a short. So that's why there's an emphasis on shorts and TikToks and all that. And that has changed the reaction space. And that could also change the music, because a lot of people complain that they're writing breakdowns just for the sake of TikToks and Instagram Reels or whatever. And yeah, I think they are. And when I'm making these edits, there's usually emphasis on the breakdowns. And yes, a lot of these breakdowns sound quite similar because a breakdown, there's only so many things you can do with it. It gets chuggy, it gets slow. Breakdown is a breakdown. So because of it, a lot of the content sounds the same. But if you listen to the full songs, they're different, right? But I see a criticism that like, oh, just another breakdown that sounds the same. But the reason why we edit those breakdowns is because people love breakdowns. They love seeing our faces get shocked by these breakdowns. So there's always an emphasis on breakdowns. But that could also be another reason why people could diminish reaction videos, is that it's all breakdown TikTok content. So I would like to change personally, because I'm a big fan of prog and even like some softer music too. Maybe emphasis on just lighter songs. And so that's another thing that I would like to do to just shake up the content a little bit. But other things is that obviously I'm talking a lot already. I love just talking about music. That's why I consider myself more of a reviewer than a reactor, but I feel like my reactions have gone a lot better last year and this year in terms of my editing. But I really feel like I come to fruition personally when I talk. Because of it, I'm going to focus on modern or metal topics or just topics around metal, because I love just discussing the scene and what's been going on in the scene. I have a podcast called The Metal Roundup with Drew Fortune and Steve OG, and it's so fun to do because I just love talking about music, and the views are doing really well. We get triple the amount of views for our subscriber count. So the point is, I just love discussing and talking about music. So I'm going to put more emphasis on that. So that way I don't feel fatigued. And that's another reason why you're seeing less videos. And I feel like others, I've heard things that the music is just not hitting anymore. We can only handle so many breakdowns, people. Okay. 5 years of breakdowns. It starts to sound pretty samey. Right. So I like to put emphasis on different kind of songs. And luckily I'm a big prog head that most of you guys know. And I feel like prog is one of the more exciting genres to try different sounds and ideas rather than rely on breakdowns to be the song. And so I am going to continue to do that kind of style of music. And if my views dip, then it's unfortunate. I might even look into actually doing other genres of music, which is something I've talked about before and I still want to do. But I also would like to try stepping into rap, hip hop, R&B. This is something that I would like to do to rejuvenate things a little bit more. And, I see other channels just create all new channels for that genre of music. I don't necessarily want to do that because I want to see people see my growth and how I've changed over the years and like follow me through my musical journey in a way. So I would like to continue to try, doing different videos here and there. So maybe in the future there could be some, Eminem dropped an album that I kind of wish I checked out. I'm not an Eminem fan. I don't really listen to his music, so I think it would be good content because people would be shocked that, yeah, I don't listen to Eminem. I'm not very familiar with his music, and he's one of the biggest artists in the world. But I did do this recently with an artist, Childish Gambino. He's a pretty popular artist. I'm sure some of you know him. And that album from Childish Gambino is actually one of my favorite albums of the year. It's not metal, but I absolutely loved it. I put on Patreon, and it's not getting too many views because, again, it's not metal. So, but those are things to help me feel excited about this content again. Because again, you're seeing less core music because although I'm still a core kid, I'm still like a scene kid or prog kid. A lot of the music does sound the same, and I'm not going to feature these bands if I'm not feeling it, because to me that's not exciting content. But I will continue to discuss the big bands that drop, because although views are a little less for some of these smaller upcoming bands, I do still think views are pretty high for bands like Burn the Horizon. Falling Reverse is kind of, I just did a Make Them Suffer video, and Make Them Suffer is a pretty well-established band in the metalcore space. So I'm going to continue doing reviews for these bands and still featuring them. But when it comes to, I can't think of an example right now, but just other maybe Sharp Tone Records bands where a lot of like breakdowns bands, I'm probably not going to feature it, because it's not going to do well views. It's going to be a lot of time and energy into it. And if I'm not feeling the song, it just feels like just not great content. But if it's a bigger band in the space that's well established, say if Loathe came out and they put out something that I did not like, I'd still put it out and put out my critical review. But let's be real, Loathe won't do that, okay? Loathe would never put out a bad song, but you get the point. So the reaction space has definitely changed. I am going to try to changing up my titles a little bit more. I experiment with my titles in the future. It's going to be slow. It's not going to be like cold turkey change. It's going to be a gradual change. I'm also going to continue to put emphasis on shorts and TikToks, and also going to be talking about more topics in news and just relevant topics that are happening, because to me that's something that's exciting. I love just discussing the music and sharing my knowledge of the scene, the space, because I've been listening to this stuff for like 25 years or something crazy like that. So that's pretty much the basis of where the channel is going. And no, I don't think reaction videos are dying. It's just more, it's changed. It's different now, but for the people that still stick around, watch the videos, we all know, okay? I appreciate the shit out of you. And I also appreciate the people that, you know, still watch. If you don't watch all my videos, but you watch the odd one, I still appreciate you. I appreciate all you guys. When you hit the subscribe button, holy shit, I appreciate the shit out of you. You know, subscriber count is like kind of like currency. So the fact that I have almost 140,000 is mind blowing. It's mind blowing. So thank you. I am not going anywhere. I'm still going to do reaction videos. It just definitely has changed. There's definitely fatigueness. There's still some boredom. The music doesn't hit as hard, but I'm doing my best to balance everything out. And so I hope to see the reaction space continue to be a prominent factor in the music world today. I love hearing people say again that we're like the Rolling Stones or MTV of today is for metal, because there's not a lot of metal, especially in person. You can't really talk to people about the style of music. So there's always going to be a niche factor to it. So I'm going to continue to do my best to help the scene in what I can with my voice and just share the good music, but also try to expand my personal growth in my music journey and try different things here and there and experiment a little bit. So I hope that this video made some sense to everyone. Trying to think if there's anything else that I left out, but I feel like I covered most of the talking points that I wanted to cover. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. But on that, thank you for tuning in. Till next time. Peace.